Welcome, Mel.
Thank you.
So you have 5 minutes, and that includes question time. So if you want questions, you have to come in under the 5.
Yeah.
Go.
Okay.
When you're ready.
I'll just quickly go through the things that I'm not really going to focus on just so I get them done. For water, I definitely think that what we have right now is fine. I don't think the limit should be raised because I think it's not a criminal offence. It's paying for the infrastructure that you are utilising if you are one of the biggest users of water. So I think it's fair that that's what you do. Also, in terms of, what if I'm growing a veggie garden or something, then yeah, potentially you might save money in the long run because you're getting your own veggies, so I wouldn't see that as an issue either. For, I think it was vacant land, I definitely think that people who own land that they're not using should have to pay a higher rate of tax on it, based on the fact that by owning that land, they are preventing anyone else from being able to do anything with it, and that's quite frustrating especially when it's in the city or if it's in an area that would be nice to have people going and doing things with. There should be an incentive to either do something with it or give the land to someone else so it can be used for the community. And for land that the council owns at the moment, and the queries of what to do with it, my biggest thing was don't sell it, because there will be opportunities to use it for things in the future, and if the council gives up land, that's another thing probably going to a private owner, and that opportunity is lost. Okay, so my main point that I wanted to get to was cycling and the Wheels to Wings project, and I very much think that it should not be delayed. So from my personal perspective, I've been cycling for since I was about 10 or 11, and part of that was because we were in a car crash. The car got written off. I cycled to school right from year 7 to year 13, and so I very much feel kind of what it's like to be a cyclist, and the answer is not that great. I've been hit by a car twice while cycling on the roads. I was following all the road rules. They were both during the day. And yeah, they were both the driver not even noticing I was there until I was right in front of them. And it wasn't that I was in a blind spot, it was that they weren't looking out for me. So the infrastructure we have in Christchurch is not designed for cyclists to be included in the current road networks, and protected cycleways allows for safer cycling. It will allow for people to feel better about cycling. I've got one friend who has been wanting to cycle for years now, but hasn't plucked up the courage yet because she's so scared of cycling on the roads. Every time she wants to cycle, I have to go to her house and I have to lead the way, and she just follows whatever I do. And then, let's see, there's an attitude of annoyance against cyclists, and that quite frustrates me, because there are things like, they think they own the road, they're so full of themselves, and that's definitely not the case. When you're on the road on a bike, you feel the environment so much more than when you're in a car. Sitting in a car, you've got your cushioned seat, you aren't feeling what the temperature's like outside or the wind rushing past you. You don't sense just how big a vehicle can be based on the sound it makes as it comes up behind you. And I can hear how big the vehicle will be as I'm cycling, and if it sounds really big, then I'm always tensing up because I don't know if they've made enough room for me, and all I can do is look straight ahead and hope. So that's not fun. And let's say there are sometimes complaints about, cyclists always use the footpath. That sometimes is kind of fair. Like, I'll cycle on the footpath if I'm on Blenheim Road, even though there's a cycle lane, because it's much safer, and the risk I pose to pedestrians is way smaller than the risk cars pose to me.
Yeah. Mel, do you want to take any questions?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So Tyler and then Celeste, but very quickly because we've only got 28 seconds.
Sure. Kia ora, Mel. I'm going to be very fast. Thank you for talking to me about your lived experience, and it's really sad to hear that stuff. I want to ask firstly, where are you living at the moment? Where do you usually travel? in the
Living
city?
in Upper Ickerton, but I went to Hagley College, so
You and me both. How good. In both ways. The next question I have is, talking on that lived experience, where are the biggest pressure points for you in our ward?
I would say probably Rickerton Road and Blenheim Road are kind of the biggest risks. Also Yaldhurst Road, that's a big one to try and work around. But the collisions that I had, one of them was actually turning onto Hereford Street from the museum direction.
Oh, wow.
And the other one was on Kirkwood Ave as I was cycling into town.
Right.
And also my partner has been, he was hit by a car 2 months ago. And if you looked at the scab on his knee, you would have thought it was a fortnight back. And he was wearing high vis in the middle of the day. So,
Right. Celeste?
Hi Mel, I just want to say thanks very much for coming in, and I just want to acknowledge your point around perhaps sometimes we don't hear from very diverse group of people. Just a quick question around the Union and Collingwood Street, it's the old Plunkett building I believe. Why is that important to you? Like, why is that on the list of ones that you would like us to hold on to?
yep, so for that, I was actually in a voice call with a bunch of people when we were filling in the form. It was pretty cool. But I was sharing what I saw on my screen, and we just went through the whole list of addresses and went on to Google Maps Street View to have a look at what was there, because we didn't actually know any of the addresses. So I don't know what it looks like at the moment, because the building was there in some condition on the pictures, and it might not be like that anymore. But my thinking was, if it's owned by the council and if there is still a building there, or if that piece of land is owned, part of it was it's in the New Brighton area, which is well known as a deprived area, and it would be really good to have community things going on there to bring people together. Especially, I mentioned youth work as a suggestion, and that was because there really isn't enough infrastructure at the moment to support things like mental health, and that's been realised as people have started reaching out and realising we don't have the services to meet the demands that have started
Thank you.
happening.
That's a very good answer.
Thank you very much, because we've had a bit of feedback about that building already, so that's useful. Thank you.
Thanks, Celeste. Alrighty, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And lucky last, Cameron.
Pauline, just before this, based on Mel, and actually a couple of young people that come through here, it's actually setting a really good precedent for diversity of thought for our young people to be thinking outside the box. Mel went through every single property to look at the assets. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And if there's other ways to be able to look at ways of engagement for our young people, that would be awesome if we can look at some alternative means to go through annual plan stuff.
Always open to suggestions.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks, Mel. Right, Cameron.